everybody, welcome back. Jim's Hands here again, and today I thought we would take a look at some awesome box art, because a pretty frequent comment I get when I do pickups videos or game hunting videos, people really like Japanese box art, and I concur. I love Japanese box art as well. One of the things about being a game collector is being able to appreciate the aesthetics of games. Retro games typically had to have some pretty cool packaging in order to sell you on purchasing them. So I'm a big fan of box art and manual art and things like that. So today, for the first video, because I do plan on doing a whole series of these, we're going to start with some Famicom games. And in particular, all of these games were released in North America as well, so we can do a nice little compare and contrast of the Eastern versus the Western box art. But let's go ahead and get started with some good old-fashioned Dragon Quest.
今、新しい伝説が生まれようとしている。Enix.
So here we go. We have all four of the Famicom Dragon Quest games laid out, and Dragon Quest box art is definitely some of my favorite, because Akira Toriyama is one of my favorite manga and anime artists. His style is maybe the most distinct and recognizable ever. So yeah, I just, as soon as I saw this box art, having already been, you know, a big fan of Dragon Ball and some of his other work, yeah, immediately loved it. But let's go ahead and take a look first with the original Dragon Quest. You have your character, the only character, playable character in the game, squaring off with a dragon, and very cool in the background you have this castle and a bunch of Drakis. The North American box art is basically this exact same scenario. It's just very, I guess, westernized. It has kind of a weird style to it. It does still look pretty cool, but they totally 100% do away with any Akira Toriyama influence, which is too bad. Because, I mean, the art is great, but also it's just kind of a more accurate depiction of what the actual 8-bit character sprites look like. They're all, you know, really tiny and not extremely detailed. So, you know, representing them like this, I think, is better than giving it some kind of like grandiose, super like might and magic artwork on the box, and then you play the game and it's nothing at all like what's on the box. Here it's kind of quaint, you know. Toriyama's art style, it's cartoonish, and yeah, I don't know, it definitely matches better with what's in the game itself. That's the original Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 2, more great box art. Of course, you have your 3 playable characters here. They went from 1 to 3. And again, you got a cool castle in the background. You got Monster, you know, the main villain here. So it's giving you everything you need to know about this game. There are these characters, there's monsters and castles and all kinds of things. So it's very cool. And you can see them here on the back, kind of these little chibi Toriyama guys. The artwork in the North American version for this one is actually also pretty cool. Again, it's very westernized. It has a very, you know, like Wizards and Warriors kind of style to it. Manly men and a sort of more sexy woman. So again, totally doing away with any Toriyama influence, which is too bad. But again, not a bad cover on the North American version. But of course, you can't go wrong with this good old-fashioned Toriyama artwork. I like that a lot. Dragon Quest 3, and this is a more kind of, I guess, cluttered cover, because there are a lot more characters in this game, or classes of characters and things like that. So you have back here, you can see, you know, your like your warriors and your mages and clerics and all kinds of stuff. So they start to incorporate more character classes and things. And again, you have this really excellent Toriyama art style. This actually, either Goku or little, Gohan, it reminds me of. Particularly, excuse me, can't talk today, with the sword, kind of reminds me of Gohan sort of at the start of Dragon Ball Z, when he's undergoing training. It's very cool. The North American cover, not as cool, if I recall. It's just like a bunch of like treasure and swords and things like that. There are no characters, no real fun details. This cover art makes the game look, I don't know, just more attractive. It's fun. You see there's like characters, all these characters and these dragons and things, and you can look on the back, and it's just for a kid, for a kid, I would say a preteen, this is much more attractive packaging than the North American version. Pretty damn cool. And then Dragon Quest IV, again, we have, because in this one you can choose, you can have your male or female lead, and then you got a dragon, you got a castle. Again, it's telling you everything you need to know about this game. You got warriors and monsters and, fantasy setting, and you can look on the back at all these great characters that are introduced into this in this game, including Torneko Talun, who got his own series of games eventually. So yeah, definitely the box art on this one, very cool, and the North American counterpart is like the worst of all of them. I think it's just a sword. It's just a sword on the cover. There's nothing really about that cover selling you on the awesomeness that is Dragon Quest IV. But that's what they wanted, and that's what they got. But definitely, I mean, I heard stories that, this game, that companies like had to shut down for the day, and people were getting robbed for their copies of Dragon Quest IV. Like this was some kind of cultural phenomenon in Japan. But the artwork on the box is excellent. And I'm not going to do it today, but definitely the manuals, the cartridges, everything, just super attractive packaging for these Dragon Quest games. But that's it. Those are the 4 Dragon Quest games eventually released in the States as Dragon Warrior. And while a couple of those did have some pretty cool box art, for sure the Famicom Dragon Quest games, just unbelievable, beautiful artwork by Akira Toriyama. I absolutely love these. And so that's all I'm going to say about Dragon Quest. Next up, we are going to move on to some awesome Kunio-kun box art.
Challenge, exciting, power, and love.
頂点に立つ学校はどこか。ダウンタウン熱血行進曲それゆけ大運動会。Technos.
Okay, so here we have a bunch of games in the Kunio-kun series, or the Nekketsu Koko series. One of my favorites, actually. Just lots of great games. These are the ones that were released in North America. There are actually a bunch in the series that were only released in Japan. And we'll probably cover those at some other point, but just today, these 5, starting with this one right here, Nekketsu Koha Kunio-kun, or Hot-Blooded Tough Guy Kunio-kun, something like that. This is the first game in the series. It was released in North America as Renegade, and the cover art for Renegade is pretty cool, I guess. It's a guy, I think, fighting other guys on like a train platform or something, which is what happens in the game, so it's pretty well representative of it. This cover, though, very simple. It's just the main character himself, Kunio, with kind of a, I guess, kind of a standard, kind of like typical anime tough guy look for the time. The art style definitely changed eventually, but you got him here standing in front of like a kind of like a cityscape, and it's simple yet striking. I don't know, I do like this box art, but this is one where I guess I would say that the North American box art, while the art style is a little goofy, it's comparable. It's an action-packed cover, which, tells you what you need to know about the game. There's going to be a guy beating people up. This one, not so much. You just know that it's got a guy in it. Just judging from the cover, you really do have to look at the back to get an idea of what the gameplay is like. But Neketsu Koha Kuniokun Renegade, still pretty cool game, and the box art, it's simple, but, you know, from humble beginnings, I guess. The next game in the series, and you'll have to excuse my rather tattered up, ratty box, but this is Neketsu Koko Dodgeball Boo, which means Neketsu High School Dodgeball Club. So this is Kunio, and as you can tell, he looks very different from the box art on the first game. This is, you know, they started to make their characters a little more like chibi, which I think is so it would match better with the actual in-game graphics. It's better representative of what you're seeing in the game. So the characters got this very kind of like chibi, kind of cute design to them, and that would hold up for the majority of the games in the series. The North American box art is just like a goofy looking guy getting beamed in the head with a dodgeball, kind of like this guy, but with a more westernized, you know, cartoon art style. So I do like this cover though. You have a handful of members of the Neketsu Koko Dodgeball team, including main character Kunio, and you got your nice Cherry Blossom and Mount Fuji and everything. Because in this game, you know, they start out in Japan and then they go all around the world to become the Dodgeball World Champions. So I do like the cover art on this, and honestly, the North American cover art is kind of iconic too. Anyone who saw it growing up didn't forget it, but I definitely like the character designs for the artwork on the Japanese versions, and again, it matches better with the in-game graphics. But yes, Neketsu Koko Dodgeball Boo, pretty cool. And we move on to the next game in the series. This is Downtown Neketsu Monogatari, in this really brightly colored pink box, and you got Kunio and Ricky and a whole bunch of other characters. This game was released in the US as River City Ransom, and the cover for River City Ransom is more like a photorealistic looking art style, just two tough guys ready to beat everybody up and what have you. A far cry from this art style, which again, it's chibi and it's very cute, and looks very similar to the actual character designs in the game, and I like that a lot. This is, I would say, of all the Famicom games I own, I mean, this like art style and these characters and kind of like this little world they live in is one of my favorites. I just love that you can play a beat 'em up, you can play a soccer game, dodgeball, hockey, all these different games, all these different genres of game, and you still get these same characters. It's you know, it's fun. It's fun to have this cast of characters and then put them into all kinds of different games. But yeah, the artwork for Downtown Neketsu Monogatari, very cool. I definitely like this representation of these characters a lot more than just sort of the generic art on the cover of River City Ransom. But there you go. It's extremely pink. If you like pink, you'll love the cover art for that game. And then next up, we have Neketsu Koko Dodgeball Boo Soccer Hen. And this was released in North America as Nintendo World Cup. And Nintendo World Cup is another game that has sort of just kind of like a generic cover, if I recall correctly, just some guys playing soccer, and it doesn't really clue you in to how, like, it just looks like it would be a standard soccer game. This definitely makes it look more like the game that it actually is, which is a soccer game with some pretty wacky characters in it and kind of like no holds barred gameplay. And you know, it's more fun than the North American cover art lets on. This, I mean, again, this is kind of like if you played any of the previous games in the Kunio series and you had liked them, and you know that this is a game in that series because of the recognizable cover art, maybe you'd be more likely to buy it, you know, instead of just knowing that it's just a soccer game. So I like the cover art. Kunio kicking a soccer ball, some other characters from the game here, and the story of this game, the reason it's got the Dodgeball Club title is that the soccer team, I guess they really need help. the Neketsu Koko soccer team. So the dodgeball team, you know, they're dodgeball world champions. They're super athletes, so they figure why not join the soccer team and take them to a championship as well. But yeah, Neketsu Koko Dodgeball Boo. Very cool box art, if I do say so myself. Again, I love these character designs, and I think this is much better box art. Again, the series as a whole, just way cooler box art when you have these really distinct character designs. Better than the North American version, I will say that much. And finally, the entire title to this game, Bikuri Neketsu Shinkyoku something, Harukanaru Keen Medal, or Gold Medal. This game was released as Crash and the Boys Street Challenge. So that one has a little personality to it on the cover because they tried to introduce these characters of Crash and his crew in a similar vein to Kunio and all of his friends and the wacky characters. This box art is just really cool though. It's like super colorful. Again, you got all the characters, and it's a game where it's sort of some like a bunch of track and field events basically. And so you kind of get that on the cover. You get Ricky doing sort of like a dash. You get what's his face. He's gonna do the hammer throw. There are just a whole lot of different events to play in this game. And again, I love the Kunio-kun art style. I think it's awesome. The North American one, though, I mean, to their credit, they did kind of try to make their characters on the box art look similar to what we have here. They're kind of like, I don't know, weird, like deformed characters, which is pretty cool. But still, again, I definitely prefer the Japanese box art. And yeah, Bikuri Neketsu, blah blah blah, go for the gold. This is a great game. If you haven't played this, or if you haven't played Crash and the Boys Street Challenge, I would recommend you do. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, great box art for this game. And all of the Kunio-kun games, wonderful box art, really great character designs, and great games too. So yeah, the Kunio-kun series, one of my all-time favorites. And moving from one favorite series to another, let's take a look at some Rockman box art.
平和のため7つの武器を駆使して悪のロボット軍団を倒せ。アイテムいっぱい、楽しさ抜群。スーパーアドベンチャーゲームファミコンソフトロックマン、12月17日新発売。カプコン。
Okay, and here we go with some Rockman, another one of my favorite series, and some of my favorite character designs and just video game artwork ever. Actually got to meet Keiji Inafune last year at TGS, which was really fun. But anyway, let's get into the box art here. As you can see them all laid out, very different from the North American box art. We'll start with the first game. And again, I have a very ratty box here. I'd love to get a new box for this one. But we have the original Rockman artwork, and this is the same basic design that you'll see in all of them. Is Rockman is kind of center stage, and then all of the Robot Masters are also included in the box art. So yeah, all of these covers are like just have a ton of characters on them and lots of color and detail. This is obviously very, very different from the North American box art, which is legendarily crappy. I think, as the story goes, the guy had like an afternoon to put it together or something like that. But yeah, this original box art, kind of the genesis of what Rockman, how the art style would develop. Go, go, Rockman! But yeah, there you go. We got our blue bomber here, and we got all of our bad guys here. And that's really everything you need to know about the game. You got a good guy, and you got a bunch of bad guys. Flip it over. Ah, good guy runs around in cool-looking stages with weird palm trees and stuff. But yeah, this artwork is sort of legendary, I guess, the designs for all of the Mega Man characters, and definitely a much better showing than the North American version, if I do say so myself. We come to Rockman 2, and you can see sort of the art style, the look of Rockman is kind of evolving, becoming more like the Rockman we know and love today. It was a little rough at first. It looked a lot more, always reminded me of Osamu Tezuka's art style. But again, we have Rockman center stage. We have all of our robot masters here, which is really awesome. And then a bunch of the enemies in the background in Wily's castle. So that's very cool. Again, very different from the North American version, which has Mega Man holding a phaser weapon. It's very Flash Gordon or something. Very, very westernized box art. Again, the back of the box, nothing too outstanding. It's just Rockman fighting a giant anglerfish. Which, if that doesn't make you want to buy Rockman 2, I don't know what will. But yeah, this box art is fantastic. Again, just this huge collage of all the characters. Definitely, when I look at this, makes me want to play this game. And the Mega Man 2 box art is, well, I don't know. It's better than the first one, but it's still a far cry from the Japanese Keiji Inafune designs. And then Rockman 3, another box that I'd love to get a new box of. This is, again, another one where it's a nice big collage. You got all these characters on it. You got Rush in there with Rockman now. Rockman, again, not quite the final product that we would expect in like later games in the series. But still, just awesome, distinct artwork by Keiji Inafune. The back, again, none of these had terribly elaborate stuff on the back of the box, but you know, the cover, that's where your attention is going to be. And this is an excellent cover. Mega Man 3 has, well, I'll say for Mega Man 3, Mega Man starts to look like Mega Man, at least. Still not in line with the Japanese art style. They just, I guess they wanted to westernize it in some manner. As a kid, though, if I would have seen this on a box or on an NES cart, I would have wanted to play that game immediately, because this art style is fantastic. But again, Rockman 3, wonderful box art. I like it a lot. And Mega Man 3, they're at least trying to make it look like Mega Man at that point. And then Rockman 4, and this is where now Rockman looks like, you know, the final product of Rockman. He still looks like this to this day. And again, we have Rockman, we have Rush, we have all the Robot Masters, and we have Dr. Cossack's castle back here. Again, this is really great box art. The back is just like the back of all the other ones. So you get a screenshot and some details about the game, and not much else. But you do get this great cover art, and the cover art for Mega Man 4 in North America. Again, they're trying to make him look more like, you know, his in-game character. And I believe Rockman 4 also has Pharaoh Man on the cover, which is cool because I like Pharaoh Man. He's probably one of my favorite Robot Masters. But the cover art for Rockman 4, as you can see, very, very cool, in my opinion. Far superior to its North American counterpart. I like that a lot. This, my favorite 8-bit Rockman game, which I sometimes get a little flack for, because most people's favorite is either 2 or 3. I tend to prefer 5. I love them all, obviously, but 5 is my current favorite. And again, great box art. You got Rockman in the middle, pointing his Rockbuster at you. We've got all of the Robot Masters here, and then we have Rush, and we have Beat, and we have Eddie, and we've got Blues or Proto Man in the background, a couple of enemies here. So just lots and lots of characters on this cover. Very, very cool. And then on the background, giving you some background, some story. Is Blues the bad guy this time around? We'll just have to play and find out. The North American version, not so bad. I believe that on that one they put Gravity Man on there. So it's Mega Man squaring off with Gravity Man, which is pretty cool. I like Gravity Man. I like his stage a lot. But definitely the box art for Rockman 5 is fantastic. Lots of characters, lots of color, and you can also see that each box, the main color scheme is different, from orange to blue to green and whatever else. And the cartridges are the same way. All the cartridges are different colors. But Rockman 5, Blues' Trap, fantastic artwork. Mega Man 5, not bad either, but this is definitely where it's at. And finally, we have Rockman 6, another great entry into the series. Came out way late in the lifespan of the NES, 1993, when, you know, pretty much everyone had a Super Famicom or SNES in their home. But yeah, again, same basic scheme as all of the other ones. You got Rockman and his compatriots front and center, and all the Robot Masters, and then you have the planet Earth in the background, because in this game it is a World Robot Tournament. So this says a lot about what's going on in the game. Rockman fights all of these different robots from all around the world, and I do like this game a lot as well. Really great graphics, really great soundtrack. The Robot Masters are really cool. So this is an excellent, maybe underappreciated entry into the series. And the Mega Man 6 box art just has Mega Man wearing his armor, his Rush armor, or the power armor, the red armor. Does Rush turn into the armor? I think he does. Either way, I mean, it's not bad, but it definitely doesn't hold a candle to this awesome collage, this nice bit of artwork by Mr. Inafune. So I do definitely love the box art on this game. Love the box art on all of these games. There's not a bad bit of box art on a Rockman game, in my opinion. And they're all just beautiful. And in my, again, in my opinion, the North American box art sort of pales in comparison to all of this beauty.
謎のブルース率いるロボット軍団に立ち向かえ。会長ロックマンシリーズファミコン用ソフトロックマン5ブルースの罠好評発売中。ロックモードも仲間入り。
Capcom.
And before I wrap this up, I just wanted to go ahead and illustrate something I said earlier while looking at the boxes. The carts for all the Rockman games are all these gorgeous colors. Dragon Quest, Kunio-kun, they all have standard black cartridges, but the Rockman series, really awesome. You get blue, red, green, orange, this sort of like aquamarine color, and yellow. This is another thing that people comment on in some of my videos when they see loose Famicom carts, typically when I'm in a shop and there's a whole lot of them to look at the same time, is that they love the variety of colors of the Famicom carts. So I figured I would just go ahead and use these Rockman carts to illustrate that. And plus, some of the artwork on the carts themselves is different from what appears on the box, and that's pretty cool as well. I especially like the art on 5. We have Rockman, Blues, Rush, just very cool. And for 6 as well, Rockman and his friends. So yeah, that's another thing. I mean, cover art on the boxes is great, but typically the Famicom cartridges themselves are pretty eye-catching. Usually have some cool artwork on the cartridge that may not necessarily be what's on the box. And there's always the chance that you'll get some kind of cool array of colors with your Famicom carts. Not always, but sometimes for particular games. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this quick little look at some Famicom box art. Like I said, I do intend to do more of these in the future. You can let me know down in the comments what console and what game series you'd like to see featured in the future. These are meant to just be like kind of like chill little videos I can make where I just get to sit here and talk about video games and artwork. So if you want to see some Mega Drive games, some Super Famicom, or Nintendo 64, whatever it is, you can put it down in the comments and I will read them and I will make videos accordingly. But I hope everybody enjoyed this little look, some appreciation of some great Famicom box art. And until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.